Hello, and welcome to Muppetsational, the Muppet Show podcast, hosted by three huge Muppet fans. Join us each week as we dive into an episode of Jim Henson's classic variety show, now finally available on Disney+. But wait! This week, we're back from our break for a special episode covering the spooktacular Muppets Haunted Mansion! It's time to get things started on the phantasmagorical, psychological, grim-grinning ghostical Muppetsational!
Love it.
I had way too much fun doing that. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Muppetsational. I am 1/3 of your ghost hosts, Lewis Chandler.
I'm Jade Turner.
And I'm Emma Chandler.
I hope you don't mind us hurrying back. But obviously we had to cover some brand new Muppet content. Muppets Haunted Mansion!
Muppets Haunted Mansion!
Muppets Haunted Mansion!
See how many we get through this episode.
I feel sorry for you all.
I don't. Muppets Haunted Mansion. Jade, why don't you kick us off with some production information?
Literally can't wait. I get to say someone's name other than Peter Harris, providing I remember that he didn't direct it. Okay, here we go. So, in case you weren't aware, Muppets Haunted Mansion was originally broadcast on the 8th of October, 2021!
Yesterday.
Hot off the press.
Put in direct competition with Madonna's Madam X concert film. I had a really long-winded joke about one of them was a legacy entertainment act puppeteered around a stage by some younger performers with some odd filters and some strange vocal inflections. And the other one was Muppets Haunted Mansion. Sorry, carry on, Jay.
That's okay. So Muppets Haunted Mansion, the story was by Bill Barretta, Kirk R. Thatcher, Kelly Younger and Jim Lewis, and the teleplay was written by Bill Barretta, Kirk R. Thatcher and Kelly Younger, and it was directed by Kirk R. Thatcher. Yay!
And Emma, if you could give us a comprehensive rundown of every guest star.
We'll tick them off as you go, okay?
Yeah, from memory. Emma, tell me where Darren Criss was born.
I want to know everything about Yvette Nicole Brown. Go!
Oh my goodness. So we're going a bit fast and loose with the structure this week. We're not going to do a walk through every scene of the 52-minute spooktacular, mostly because, we only decided to do this today. And Lewis watched it yesterday and he didn't write any notes. So we're just going to sort of launch into a discussion. What were your general thoughts on Muppets Haunted Mansion?
I thought it was really fun. I didn't know what to expect, but I was pleasantly surprised. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I loved Gonzo, Pepe, excellent. It was just really, really fun, kind of light-hearted, and obviously having the iconic Haunted Mansion. It just took me back from all the times going on the ride, going to the parks, and I was like, oh, I love this. It was really, really good. The only thing that I did not like was Kermit's new voice.
Oh, I know, but the problem is, well, apparently Steve Whitmire is apparently the problem, but then after that, it's if we want these characters to survive, we have to get used to their new voices, much like me with Madonna during the Madam X concert film.
Is this how many times can you get Madam X into this conversation?
It's going to be a fight between Madam X or Muppets Haunted Mansion as to what gets mentioned more.
I'm getting used to Kermit's new voice, but the first time I hear it, every time, whenever like the new thing starts, whatever that might be, I instantly hear Constantine now to start with, and then I'm like, no, it is Kermit. And it is taking some adjusting. It's one of the less similar to the original voices, isn't it? I think
it's almost like it's somewhere directly between Jim Henson and Steve Whitmire.
Whitmire, yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like it quite lands in either one of them. But I suppose there was Kermit was used somewhat sparingly in this special.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too bothersome for me. But we can jump back into some of the sort of the Muppet characters in a moment. Jade, what were your general thoughts for the special?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it as well. I think, like Emma said, it was really fun. It had a good pace to it. It didn't seem to sort of linger in any area or on any particular thing for too long, but it had a nice through line. I loved all the Muppety details, but also all the Haunted Mansion details. I think they paid homage to the ride really well, but also did justice to the characters and to the sort of legacy of not only the Muppet Show, but also, you know, some of the movies and beloved characters other than Rizzo. But hey ho, that's another thing.
When are we going to get back to Rizzo having a more senior role in the Muppets?
I don't think we are. I think it's just so sad.
But he was supporting in their weird one-season mockumentary show.
But I think that was when Steve Whitmire was still doing the voice, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't realise that.
Yeah.
Oh,
But yeah, I generally all round, I really, really thoroughly enjoyed it. And I did actually watch it again today because I wanted to take some notes, and I still enjoyed it the second time. And there were little bits that I hadn't picked up on the first time, either because I was laughing or because my attention was taken elsewhere. So it was nice to actually revisit it when it was that fresh and see it again and kind of, I'm not saying there was like that much more to dig into, but I certainly noticed a few bits and bobs that I hadn't noticed on the first watch. So yeah, I think it's a really, really solid special, and I'm really glad that they're doing something positive and proper with the Muppets, and also potentially maybe it's the start of something that could become a bit of a series with the Muppets taking over various rides in the park or crossing over with other Disney IP or whatever it might be. So
that would be amazing.
Yeah. How about you then, Lewis?
Yeah, I agree with you both. It was just a romp. It was a real romp, and even, you know, the couple of moments where I thought, wait, what is the plot of this? Or wait, why is Gonzo having to face his fears? And what happened? Like, I was just, every time that sort of popped up in my head, I just thought, Lewis, it doesn't matter. It's a 52-minute special based around the Haunted Mansion theme park ride. You don't need to find plot continuity. One of the characters is literally called MacGuffin. So I just thought, fine, just don't worry about it. It was great fun. And it was, you can tell they just dealt with both properties with such care.
Yeah.
So clearly the people who are doing the Muppet Studios right now care about the Muppets, and everybody from Disney is very much like, look after the Haunted Mansion. It's, you know, it's prestige. And they did. And it was just the perfect balance between the slightly taking the mickey, but then also some moments that were a bit kind of creepy. I kept thinking of Muppets Christmas Carol.
Yes.
Where it has that sort of through line where it's a bit silly 1 second, and then one moment later you're like, ooh, this is a bit unnerving, actually. The shots of old and really old Gonzo.
Oh my God.
So creepy.
Those would have messed me up as a child. His weird little shriveled nose and
his brain. You could see his brain.
You see his brain.
That is something I never.
It was crazy.
Yeah, that was quite up. Like that was definitely like a what the fuck, and I kind of
when he's stuck in the mirror, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, and also but. It just didn't make any sense to me, that bit about why the mansion was trying to make him face his fears. But who cares? It's fine because we had so much
guess
sort of.
That, if you want to just say very briefly on the story, I think that's like the whole thing was that he was going to be challenged. That it was a challenge to make it through the night and to get out. And I suppose the challenge turned out to be that he needed to face his fears. I think it's as simple as that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I was looking too deep.
Yes.
I was trying to...
I don't think it's anything like, well, you know, more can't even get the word out. I don't think it's anything more existential than, oh, he needs to face his fears, and his fears are not seeing his friends again, and the fact that he always has to be doing something daring and dangerous.
Okay, fine. Meanwhile, Pepe the Prawn gets to just horny about with Taraji P. Henson,
Yes.
which, I mean, Taraji P. Henson was so game in this, but also so creepy as well. It was a really good performance. I kept thinking, because I had no idea what to expect from her. And I just thought, oh, this is a really actually quite cool performance where it's a bit deranged and a bit seductive, but also she is basically playing it straight apart from a couple of throwaway lines. And I was so glad that she did.
Yeah, I agree. She did a really, really good job on it. She was utterly convincing as someone who was unhinged and bride and, had killed.
Had killed and will kill again.
Yes.
I know how she was like X's and axes. And,
Yeah.
and I love the little joke about Henry VIII. I was like, you go, historical pun.
Oh, for God. Really bringing that history degree to good use, Emma. Thanks for identifying Henry VIII for us. If only they taught the Tudors in school.
Yeah, no, she was great. And actually, I thought Will Arnett did a really good job too, because he was playing it pretty straight. There was no kind of wink to his performance, I didn't think, for the most part.
I was really pleased that actually really none of the guests, apart from maybe John Stamos.
Yeah, John Stamos.
Which was an odd... Again, my mind immediately went...
That was so weird.
But why is John Stamos...
To quote the leader of the Muppet Labs, budget, I think. It's the,
I was a little gutted when I realised that was literally all they were going to have them do. It was great. And we had the beaker motif on the wallpaper, but just to have him go, me, 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 moo. I just want my son back.
They know that you just have to wait, Lewis. That's why he wasn't in it properly. They were like, no, they've only done season 1. He doesn't exist yet. We just need a little sprinkling, not a full-on Muppet Lab situation going on in the Haunted Mansion.
This is punishment for me not having read of Muppets and Men.
Yeah, go on. I reckon. There was hardly any animal as well, which I thought was quite surprising, because you'd think animal being a monster would lend itself quite nicely to a Haunted Mansion something.
No, instead,
just something.
What we got was a really surprising amount of season 1 Muppets.
Yes.
I know. We had Off the Rack Muppets, we had Gorgon Heat, we had Beautiful Day, Wayne and Wanda. And then Peter and I almost lost our goddamn minds when in the ballroom scene, they basically did a ballroom scene. I know.
Oh my God.
They did 3 puns in a row, and I just went, and Peter and I just looked at each other and went, oh my God, they're doing At the Dance. I cannot believe they're doing this.
That was literally what me and Rich did too. I just looked at him. I think my mouth was open. They're doing the ballroom. I was like, what are they doing? And the jokes are still terrible.
Yeah.
They're not even good.
It was unbelievable. And also, did you see the newsman, his portrait as well?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. And you know what? And that is something that, had we had not done this podcast,
would not know.
I wouldn't have gotten. I would have sat down and watched this perfectly happily, being a Muppet fan, and been like, oh, they just made some puns there while some people were dancing. And now I know that it's a 50-year legacy of, puppets making bad puns.
The bit that I actually found really odd, well, I found it odd that they decided to do a throwback to the ballroom, but anyway, that's, putting that aside a second. I found the timing and the pacing and the beats in that ballroom scene all a little bit odd. Not just with the puns, but generally around it. It felt like it needed a bit more, don't necessarily know if I wanted choppier editing, but it seemed to move quite clunkily between each of the different sort of setups and each of the different little puns and jokes and whatever. It was very strange.
I know exactly what you mean. All of those little overlays, they would work for a few seconds, and then as soon as the camera would move, it was almost like it was It felt like it's the moment where expectation meets budget.
Yes. But I actually think they could have done it. Basically, what they needed to do was essentially bunch it all up a bit more. It should have just sort of been a bit more like da-da, 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 instead of da-da. Da-da. Do you not, for me, the pacing was just totally wrong in that scene. It was I found it a really, really strange watch, and I didn't kind of know where I was going with it a little bit.
I also couldn't quite hear the lyrics in that number, and I couldn't work out if that was just, I don't know, something that we'd set up our television wrong, although I'll be damned if I have. But we couldn't hear half the lyrics, and Peter even comment on it.
Yeah, I think it was a bit muffled. Because it was obviously very clearly ripping off Be Our Guest, but I think you also couldn't. Yeah, I was a bit like, I haven't actually heard enough of the lyrics to know 100% how much it's playing on the Beauty and the Beast theme. Like, I heard references to the Beast and Beauty and various different things, but yeah, it wasn't enough. And then also when it got to the end and it kind of turned into the Muppet Show theme song, then I was a bit like, oh god, have I missed a load of references to the Muppet Show theme song? But on the second watch, it's like, no, it just does that at the end. But it's not clear enough to know whether it's actually been doing that the whole way through that song.
It's a little bit of a hodgepodge, that one,
it's a little
which
bit
is
strange.
A shame, because it feels like it should be a big, grand number.
Yeah, that should be the big kind of crescendo moment. That's all the Muppets together in the ballroom. That's where you've got the most characters at any one time, isn't it?
I liked the bit where you had the ride breakdown.
Yes! Oh my god.
That was so good.
I absolutely loved it.
And immediately I felt like I was sitting in a doom buggy, and I just thought, oh, I want to be in a theme park.
It was such a good little touch, because it's that knowingness of the fact that people who are watching this, presumably 98% of them, 99% of them love the Haunted Mansion and have been on the ride and have sadly been stopped on the ride at some point, because it seems to stop constantly.
Because somebody like Emma is panicking on the travelator. I've got to get off.
My bag is stuck in the travelator.
Can I just say, we've got a few little sort of bullet points for our, just chat here. The biggest surprise for me was that I was completely bang on right about having Statler and Waldorf sitting in a doom buggy, making jokes and passing comment on the scene as it happened. I'm waiting for my check.
I'd also like to point out that I said that Miss Piggy would be Madame Leota.
Yes,
you did.
Both were spot on.
You absolutely did.
Absolutely spot on. When Statler and Waldorf arrived in the doom buggy, I literally was like, oh my god, I cannot believe they've done this. And it was, along the balcony and everything. It was just absolutely exactly what we'd said. Like, Lewis, you got it spot on.
Give me a job,
Disney. They obviously listened to our podcast that we put out earlier the year.
I'm very available right now. Anyway, I just wanted to get that in quickly.
I also saw, and this is a shout out to someone on the Tough Pigs Instagram. I'm sorry, I don't have your username to hand. But apparently Statler and Waldorf were in their outfits from when the Muppets go to Walt Disney World as well.
Oh,
so that's a nice little tie in there too.
Aww.
Love that.
I love little nods.
Yeah, so good. Well, that's like super deep as well, isn't it? That's not just like, oh, Beaker and Animal are in the wallpaper, or Manumana and the Snouths are on the candelabra or whatever. It's like that's like proper.
Did you guys realise in the Madame Pigota scene?
Nice, good work, Emma. That only took one attempt. Very good.
The maid was Kim Irving.
Yes,
who's obviously Leota Tomb's daughter, which I just thought was lovely.
And very senior Imagineer now, isn't she?
And she does, for the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay, she is Madame Leota for that, because they had to re-record it.
Thank you, the Imagineering story, available now on Disney+. Ding! We're not sponsored.
For me, Kim Irvine and Ed Asner, because obviously it's just so cute to see him. Like, they were like my two guest stars, like my favourite guest stars of it, because I just thought Kim Irvine was such an amazing nod to real proper Disney parks aficionados and people who have watched all of the Imagineering programs available, whether authorized or not.
But also just the way Miss B was like, gimme! just gimme. And she's wearing a park. It's one of the maid outfits they have to wear it. In the operation of the park.
She's wearing one of the cast member outfits of.
That's what I mean. Yes.
And it was just so nice to see Ed Asner for. I was checking his IMDb. He has got a few more things coming up, but obviously there's not tons more now, so
Yeah.
very nice that
God,
he's
of course.
involved.
Yeah, I sort of wonder, it's like when they got Mickey Rooney in that one line on the bench in
Yes.
The Muppets, and how they've had Ed Asner.
Oh yeah, is
God,
there a curse?
look out, Dick Van Dyke! The Muppets are coming for you.
no.
Put Angela Lansbury in a box. Don't tell the Muppets where she is.
Oh my god. Maybe we need to go back and check if there's any others that are... Is there a pattern?
What, the Muppets are like a harbinger
Harbouring?
Harbinger of doom? No.
Harbinger.
Harbinger! That just didn't sound Harbinger of doom. Yeah, that's right. It's like a Haagen-Dazs of doom.
Haagen-Dazs of doom. I feel like we're starting a Only Murders on the Muppet Show podcast.
I was going to say I'm Demi Lovato, but I'm absolutely
Martin Short.
Martin Short.
I think Emma's Steve Martin.
Oh, so by default you just
Oh, I'll be
become
Demi Lovato, then that's fine.
How did that happen? Emma would do very well on a mid-90s crime procedural.
Brazzos.
Emma's watched so many of them, she could probably be in the writer's room as well. It's like, no, we can't do that. They've done that on Diagnosis Murder, Murder, She Wrote, Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, God. We said we weren't going to get off topic. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, people don't come to this podcast for staying on topic. Ever.
I mean, if they do, they're thoroughly disappointed week after week, I think.
And look, sometimes we've had comments telling us as such. Usually when we get information wrong.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Oh, dear. Emma, what were some of your other favourite bits from this little special?
I really enjoyed where you had Sweetums kind of running down the corridor, and like Pepe and Gonzo end up on the sort of like little wheelie. I can't think of the word.
Yes,
trolley.
just a trolley.
Trolley. That was great.
Trolley, Emma.
The trolley.
Like, as in clang, clang, clang. Brackets, went there.
I
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, I love.
We're not looking for a bell, Jade.
I really liked when we sort of crossed back to Kermit and Piggy's Halloween party. That was a lot of fun, and seeing everyone there and seeing like Kermit and Piggy in their costumes, that was great. And also Swedish Chef and like the sentient food,
yes!
like the pumpkin and Swedish Chef running around with a chainsaw.
Those screaming pumpkins. Peter and I lost our mind when because they were just in the background, and then when that one screaming pumpkin just slammed into just.
I love the tomatoes as well when they were talking about the bobbing for tomatoes, and then he was like, "Am I right or am I wrong? Am I right or am I wrong?"
Yeah, Peter loved that too. Just as any characters just bobbing off, still chatting is gold
always
dust
a win
to Peter.
Yeah.
He loves it. I would like to give a shout out to, I don't know what their name was, but the very skeletal skeleton who kept going, dun 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 dun. Oh, I got it right.
So they are Mummy and Duddy.
Oh god.
That's their names, Lewis. Okay? That's their names.
Do you know what? Before they started talking, I thought it was like Dead Tom and Dead Tom.
That is Emma. It's the same. It's the same Muppets. They've just redressed them.
Oh, okay.
No, they looked a bit different.
No, Lewis, it is. It's on Muppet Wiki.
Okay, well, I'm going to the Muppets.
Yeah, ask tomorrow.
Treasure Island 25th anniversary screening tomorrow at Picture House. I'm going to have some margaritas, and I am going to ask a question. I don't know what
You need to ask that
you
about
need to
Mummy and
mention
Daddy
us as well.
I know. I was trying to work out if it's really douchebaggy of me going, "Hi, Lewis from the Muppetsational podcast."
No, do it.
Question. Oh, I don't know. I'll see how much drinks I have at lunch.
You need to have had that much to drink that you don't think about it, and you do just say, "Lewis from Muppetsational podcast."
Pause. Hold for applause.
I think you need to get a t-shirt printed as well.
Just a boo. Just one singular boo from the auditorium. Okay. Oh no.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, they're Mummy and Duddy, and they were hilarious.
Yeah. Dun dun.
Dun, dun.
Oh, and also I really enjoyed the lift moment as well with the pictures. I love that bit on the ride anyway.
Another thing we predicted. To be fair, to think that they were going to do the stretching room isn't too much of it, but they did.
What I absolutely loved about the stretching room, and this takes them to like some of my favourite bits as well, was that the dialogue was what you would hear from the voiceover. And I just thought that was so clever that they turned that into a conversation between Gonzo and the ghost host as Will Arnett was playing. I just thought that was just genius, quite honestly. Like, because it would have been so easy to either just have a voiceover or have Will Arnett just say it or whatever. But the fact that they turned it into a actual dialogue between the two of them. And then the other little cameo Muppet that kept popping up, the screaming goat, to have the screaming goat as the original scream that you would normally hear when you look up and see I don't think you actually see the body anymore, do you? You just see the noose. But anyway.
Oh yeah, I think they did remove that.
I think they got rid of the body. But to have the goat instead of that, because I guess that's probably deemed a little bit too strong for a Disney Plus special, like, that was just so great. It was so nice to have those moments where they'd really lent into the Haunted Mansion lore and storytelling and experience, but also then Muppetized it in some way. And I think to me, when I was thinking about my favourite moments, it was those moments that either really lent into the Haunted Mansion side of things, or also when you did still get a bit of meta commentary from the Muppets. So like when Piggy was moaning about like, this is my biggest scene, and they've shoved me in a fishbowl, and I don't know, like it was just a really, really lovely mix of the two properties, like, as we've already said. Also at the end, when you had Taraji doing the hurry back, and the glowing red heart, and she was in the window, it's just like, yes, this is Haunted Mansion. It's not some weird thing that they've just tried to like put in or whatever. Like, they've really made sure it sticks and is clear with the journey that you go on when you go on the ride.
I think we're just gonna have to go to Orlando.
Oh my god, I'd love to.
I think a Muppetsational trip to Orlando.
Yes. Can we get some t-shirts?
Absolutely.
That's all you're allowed to wear, Emma.
Speaking of merch, how long do we think until there's Muppets Haunted Mansion?
There needs to be some
merch. 2, do we think Disney would actually consider doing a Muppets overlay for the mansion?
Well, I did see some tweets from people who had been, I don't know if you've seen, but in California they've got some of the bits from the special. So they've got like the pictures that change, and they've got the busts and various different things. And I saw some people already saying like, I want to see this as an overlay. Like, I want this to be something. So I guess if it's popular enough and if enough people make enough noise about it, they might do it. I would love for them to do it. It'd be absolutely amazing.
I think it does seem to be doing well on Disney Plus. Having looked at the trending page and from what other people have posted, it seems to be just behind the out from under the paywall release of Black Widow and whatever the latest episode of Marvel's What If. And then third is Muppets Haunted Mansion.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
That's amazing.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So we can only hope that it does lead to some more considered good work with the Muppets and Disney, as they should have been doing this entire goddamn time.
Yeah, definitely.
Was there anything from this special that we didn't get? Was there anything that we were hoping for that we didn't see?
I've got a couple of things that I was a little bit disappointed about. I've already mentioned one, which was very little animal. I just wanted more animal, because I can always do with more animal. So
more beaker. I would also like more beaker.
My other two things. One is I find it very odd that they didn't do the fourth stretching portrait. And the one that was missing was the older lady sat on the tombstone. And seeing as they're already bringing back so many season 1 Muppets, why not have Hilda sat on that tombstone?
Do you know what? To begin with, the two skeletons, I know I said I thought it was old Tom and dead Tom. I did for a second think, is that Hilda?
I did when I realised that they were doing the ballroom, I did wonder whether we were going to see Hilda or get to see... Oh my god, her name's gone out of my head.
Mildred.
Yeah, but alas, no.
And George could have been in the ballroom too. That would have been
George.
cute.
They had their other janitor.
Yes.
I can't remember his name.
We don't. It's fine.
I don't know. That guy.
That guy. And then the other thing, which is probably my biggest thing that I really did feel like was missing, the party scene in the graveyard at the end of the ride.
Well, we kind of got that at the beginning, though.
But it's not the same, is it? That's such a riot part of the ride. Like, to me, that's... I got that they crescendoed with, obviously, Pepe's great escape and Gonzo coming to the rescue. And I suppose in terms of the drama of it, that certainly was a more dramatic ending. But I don't know, like, to me, that's probably my favourite part of the ride when I'm on it, because there's just always so much to look at and I never know where to look. And I know you're right, like, they did it in the actual graveyard a little bit at the start. Like, obviously you did get the singing busts and everything, but it wasn't enough and it's not the same. And I miss that. Like, I just think there's so much they could have done with that, and I was expecting to see a lot of different Muppets basically in that scenario.
I know what you mean. There is a version of that where they jump out of that window, they land in the graveyard, maybe even in Statler and Waldorf's doom buggy, and they go through in a sort of race to get out before sunlight, heading towards the gate almost. Or they could have suddenly become the ghost that's coming home with you. Or something, suddenly holding onto the top of the doom buggy in a sort of like fun way. But I know, and I did wonder whether that was going to happen, but I kind of didn't mind. I didn't mind it. But there we go. Emma, was there anything that you wanted from the special that we didn't get?
I think I would say more Rolf.
Oh.
He was only in it a little bit. He had a couple of good gags, but it would have been nice to see him a little bit more. I thought he was kind of like underused. And
Peter thought he looked quite round.
He did.
He's very round now. That is his character. That's like his design.
Yeah.
I think is more of, he's not as ovoid. He's more spherical.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
It just stood out. I don't know why. I just went, oh, he is very round.
Yeah, even with Rolf, they could have had him in a fancy dress outfit in the background of the Halloween party. Like, that would have been nice just to see him dressed up a little bit fancy or something, you know?
Was Rolf being voiced by Brian Henson? Because it said, and special guest appearance by Brian Henson, and I tried to look at the credits, because I did watch the credits all the way through. So I saw Statler and Waldorf's last joke, and then I did also see the screaming goat come popping out of the studio.
Good.
I did. I was there. But then, I wasn't quite sure, but I just guessed it was Rolf.
I was just on the Muppet Wiki one.
Hold on.
And it didn't say... Oh, no, he was Sal, Lewis.
Oh.
Salmonella.
The monkey?
Apparently.
Wait, that is the monkey, right?
I think so, yeah, 1 second.
Or is that the
No, the guy is...
Jazzy guy.
The guy's got a different name, hasn't he? I think the monkey is.
Yeah, because they're from
Sal,
Muppets Tonight, which is just something that entirely does not exist to me. That I've never seen even more than maybe a tiny clip of.
Yeah, Johnny Fiamma. I don't know if I've said that right.
Of course.
That's the guy's name, and Salmonella is the monkey. So Brian Henson was the monkey.
I thought you were saying Salmoneo to start. I was like, I don't remember there being a Muppet of that gay guy from Rebel Without Cause. And featuring the ghost of Salmoneo in Muppets Haunted Mansion. Oh no.
Yeah, no, it says he reprised his role as Sal in Muppets Haunted Mansion, which was his first project as a Muppet performer since 2005.
Wow. That's bizarre. Well, hopefully it's building a bit more merging. Maybe they've finally forgiven him for the Happy Time Murders, which I have not watched.
No, neither.
No. The only thing I wanted from this special, beyond Morbika, is actually not something that they could have done within this special. I just want more of them.
Yes.
Which you already said, Jade, I want either more ride-based Muppet parodies, or I want just more specials like this. I mean, even even this, which did have a bit more of a budget behind it, there was still a tiny bit too much green screen for my liking.
Do you want a fun tech fact about the green screen?
Go for it.
It's not actually green screen. It's the first Muppet project that they've done where they used LED screens.
Oh, okay. That's
I read that too,
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they're just standing in front of projections?
No,
On the
LED,
screen.
so it's like a TV, basically.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, fair enough. But still, I wanted a bit more physical set. That would be the only thing I did want. It looked better to me than Muppets Now. But I do miss a bit more, because I don't even mind if the sets are smaller to compensate. You know, even in Muppet Treasure Island, which is a theatrical feature film, the top of that boat is not particularly big. You know, and the bit where they're going sailing for adventure, you know that they've just got one half of the side of the boat that they've just flipped because some of the people's hairstyles suddenly go in different directions.
I love the
There's
bit when
something
you've
to
got...
ask about.
There you go.
Yeah.
I love the bit with the lifeboat as well. You can clearly see it's just people carrying it along.
Yes.
Oh, all good fun. Can't
Yeah,
wait.
I mean, I think, to me, like, the fact that they didn't include the big graveyard scene, and then the fact that John Stamos was the only person in the very important people's room.
The most famous person they could get was John Stamos, who I feel you could book for your party or bar mitzvah for maybe like...
Oh, I mean, what is he on
$3,000.
Cameo? Like, I'd be surprised if it's that much on Cameo, right? Yeah, so there obviously was a limited budget in some sense of the word, but it did certainly feel more like a proper budget than recent Muppet properties have, other than the films, obviously, because the films clearly still have decent budgets behind them. What it really made me want is another Muppets film that's like a Treasure Island or a Christmas Carol or something, where they're taking on a property and running with it. And, you know, not just we're getting the band back together, or I don't know, there's an evil frog or
a
whatever.
caper across Europe. But it does give them a really good jumping off point.
Yeah.
And it kind of allows the meta-ness that comes with the Muppets. It kind of reins it in just enough that you still keep the plot. Because if you're just given a blank sheet of paper to write a Muppet movie, then you're going to be pulling it apart and making jokes about it all the way through, which makes sense. But if you're literally handed a classic text, you know, at least every story beat is already there for you, and you can just choose the best moments to then go, wait, why are we doing this? Or, you know, get a rat cruise involved somehow. You know, it just makes... Yeah, I know what you mean. Well, we probably should just do a quick teeny tiny plug. The Muppetsational team did appear on the It's the Muppet Show podcast, where we had to pitch our own Muppet rides. And mine was an adaptation of a classic work. It was Around the World in 80 Days, changed to Around the World in 80 Minutes, with Kermit as Phileas Frog and more. You should listen to it on there. We have a lovely time.
I'm glad you stopped at that point. I was just going to say, like, oh my god, he's off again.
No, I'm not. We have a lovely time with the host, Jason, and it was a lot of fun. And so everybody go and listen to that, because it was a lot of fun to do.
And Lewis came up with a lot of great pun-based fun things for Around the World in 80 Minutes.
What can I say?
And it means that he can no longer moan about any single pun on the show ever again.
Well, luckily we've got new writers for season 2. Not us. The Muppet Show does. Muppetsational will have the same material.
We might get some new writers too. Who knows?
You never know.
I'd rather some sponsorship first.
Maybe the writers will be the sponsors.
Oh my god. It's self-funded. No, never put your own money into the show.
No,
never
I meant,
put your own money in the show.
I meant more like they're just like constantly saying to us, like, you have to mention the...
I thought you were going to be saying they were going to be like, please pay us. This is non-union work. Oh. If there are no other things we'd like to highlight about the special, we're going to move on to our just little teeny tiny special segment of our MVFM, our most valued foolish Muppets.
Can I just ask very quickly, sorry, I just
This will not be
realised-
going into the spreadsheet, no.
One, I think it should go in the spreadsheet, but
It's
two...
not counting towards season 2. Because, Some of these Muppets don't even exist yet.
Fine. It's not counting towards season 2. No, I listened back to our mini episode when we first found out about Muppets Haunted Mansion, and something that was mentioned in it, Lewis, was that you used to be very scared of the Haunted Mansion, and that you wouldn't go on the ride and you'd sit outside, and then you'd get panicked that your family were about to be trapped inside the Haunted Mansion and were never coming out. And obviously that is basically the storyline of this. So I just wondered whether you had any kind of anxiety watching this of like, oh my god, it's taking me back to my youth.
No direct anxiety. But as we said, the creepy Gonzo was awful.
Yeah.
That was really disgusting to look at and really upsetting. I think, and you know what? I'm going to slightly justify my overactive child self, because they have mentioned that purposely Phantom Manor in Disneyland Paris is a scarier, grimmer,
so scary,
creepier ride from the outside alone, let alone...
Well, it's Psycho on the outside, isn't it?
Well, yeah, exactly. Which, I feel entirely... And I'm still trying to think whether I've actually ridden the French.
If you haven't, then you have to go. It's so good.
No, I have, because I think I did get over it one time when I was a child, and I think I was kind of like gripping onto Mum, being like, I don't want to do this, and she's like, we're already in the... Well, she didn't say we're already in the stretching room. She's like, we're already on the ride.
The Paris one is like a Western when you get into the ghosty bit at the end. It's like Frontierland.
Yeah, I think I did. I think I need to go on it again as an adult, because I think I really did just like hustle my way through it with my eyes down. I think I remember the sort of the scare, the bride who was more kind of like weeping because she was getting married to some dead guy.
Yeah.
Something like that. I just remember her crying. I don't know. It's in there somewhere. But then when Peter and I went, they were shut to, I assume, put the overlay in or whatever. Who knows? But anyway, let's move on to our MVFM. That's really hard to get. Most valued foolish Muppet. Emma, why don't you kick us off?
I'm not going to say it because I'm probably going to get it wrong.
Oh, go on.
But my MVFM. Oh, that was hard.
Yay!
It's going to be Gonzo.
Very good.
I just think it's so nice to see him, and it's so nice to see him have a central role. As we've kind of discussed in the podcast, he's not fully formed in season 1, and I don't think they quite know what to do with him, because one minute he's some like abstract artist, next minute he's like doing something else, and it's just really nice to see him. And I just love his interaction with the guest stars and the other Muppets. Him and Pepe are great, even though obviously I do miss him and Rizzo. Creepy old Gonzo I did not like.
That's a separate Muppet, that's fine.
I never want to see
Never want to see him again. But overall, yeah, it is going to be Gonzo, definitely. How about
quick
you,
question.
Lou?
Did anybody else think that, I don't know if I just noticed it mainly in the first scene, that Gonzo's puppeteering of his mouth didn't seem quite as flexible?
No, I thought that the whole way through, to be honest with you. It was really stressing me out.
Was it just because he was wearing a tuxedo? Like,
maybe.
Was the collar like...
Also, I also thought his eyes were closer. Like his eyes
are definitely a lot
closer.
His eyes are so different than what we've been seeing.
Oh no, his eyes are as they've been since, I would say, Muppets Christmas Carol, if not before. But there was his mouth was
not moving enough,
hindered in some way, and I couldn't quite work out what it was. It didn't have the same, because when he was doing that first scene on the phone, I was like, I mean, I feel like I could do this level of puppeteering where it's just going wah 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 wah.
Yeah, I found it quite distressing, to be honest with you, because it kept taking me out of it, because it wasn't natural in the way that we're used to the Muppets just appearing to...
I think it's even the ability for his head to move from side to side a bit, from his like almost shoulder to shoulder.
Very
I think
constricted.
That's what was missing. Yeah, I think maybe it was just the collar. Maybe it was that. I don't know. Anyway, sorry to interrupt. Jade, who was your MVFM for this special?
My most valued foolish Muppet.
Very good.
I have to give Gonzo a shout out too, because I think he absolutely obviously held the entire thing together. And I really also loved that he had that sort of hero narrative at the end of saving his friend. I think you get that sense from him of being so grateful for being part of the Muppet Troupe and that he actually really does appreciate his friends. And friendship is a really, really big thing to Gonzo. Like, it used to be with Rizzo and now it is with Pepe. And that he just loves being part of the Muppets. And I think that this was a really great match for his kookiness and weirdness. And the fact that the whole way through he's basically saying, like, I'm not scared is totally in keeping with his character. And yet they still managed to find a way to make it so that he had a bit of growth and a real experience from the story and came out of it a better Gonzo at the end. But I do also want to give a shout out very, very quickly to Mummy and Daddy because they were
Dun.
such a great comic addition.
I loved it. I loved it so much.
And I like that's the stuff that actually I think a lot of the time in season 1 of The Muppet Show, we've really enjoyed these sort of one-off characters that appear either just in a single scene or in a single episode and do a little funny turn or a little funny line or whatever. And then you might never see them again, or you might see them again, but they'll be doing something different or whatever. But like, these are 2 fun characters and they were a really, really great addition to Muppets Haunted Mansion. So
even just picturing it in my head, and I think it's the way that the arms just
dun, dun, dun.
They were just really it just made me really happy. I'm really conflicted for my MVFM because we've not really mentioned Pepe that much, and he was fantastic. But I don't know if I can deny my ability to just shout out a bunch of like one-off Muppets, particularly like Screaming Pumpkin or Screaming Goat or Mummy and Daddy and the Tomatoes. Just there were so many good little one-off Muppets. Oh, I don't know.
I was originally a bit torn about Pepe, but then, and I don't know, not to send us spiraling down another track here, but I found him a little bit one note at the start when all he kept banging on about was the
famous people
VIPs
room,
and the fact that it was a party, and it was very clear that it wasn't a party. And you're just like, I think they could have maybe done that in with some very small alterations basically, and it would have been clear that Pepe did realise where he was and he did know what was going on, but he did still, or like he was still mainly wanting to mingle with some very important peoples, but you know, without it just literally being like the same note over and over again, which is what I kind of felt like it was in the first like 10-15 minutes.
I know what you mean, but I felt like it passed just fast enough for me not to mind, and that he did have some other business going on, whether it was the little moment where it cuts to his phone and all these people are saying,
I know,
why are you texting me, blocked, or him trying to chat up Yvette Nicole Brown, who we haven't actually really met. Well, we mentioned her a little bit, who was great. I love her, and I haven't watched Community probably since university, but she was always so great on it. And the whole running gag about people either being able to or not being able to speak Spanish.
Yes.
So, when Will Arnett was like, no. And then just so enough of those bits were peppered in that I didn't mind that for the first 10 minutes or so his want was get the VIP room, okay? Just very important people. Who am I going to pick? Screaming Pumpkin. He just... Oh, no. Do you know what? No, I have to... No, it's Duddy. It's Duddy. It's Dad. Dad. Ah, damn it. Yeah, it is. I can't... Yeah. Dad. That's probably the one that's going to beat Muppets Haunted Mansion now.
Yeah, I think it might have.
Oh,
you're going to have to ask about them tomorrow, Lewis.
But, maybe... No, we'll have to... Maybe I should ask the Muppetsational on Twitter what I should ask.
We could do that too.
Although it's already got past 10 this evening on a Saturday night, so you know, us wild and crazy partyers. Anyway,
this is the very important people's room, okay?
Very okay. Should we give it a ranking?
I mean, I've given it a rating, but I suppose it's based off of how I feel, like how well I feel it did on my...
Just how I'm feeling.
Yeah, my expectations.
Go on, Jade, go for it. You do it while Emma and I think of a rating quickly.
So I'm going to give it 8.5 horsey doves Which is now what I'm calling hors d'oeuvres for the rest of my life.
Was it horsey d'oeuvres, or did he say? I thought he said hors d'oeuvres, which I thought was
no. I think it was horsey d'oeuvres. I don't think he could say horse on Disney Plus.
I don't know, maybe on the Star Channel.
Yeah, when you have to put your pin in to get to it.
There's actually a 60-minute version of Muppets Haunted Mansion with 8 minutes of material cut out for the Disney Plus audience that's been put in for the Star version.
I want to see that. Please send that through.
No, you don't. It'll be terrifying. If we think the PG old Gonzo is bad.
No, but it'll just
what
be...
disgusting Muppets do you think they've made for that?
It'll just be Pepe and Gonzo telling dirty jokes, I reckon. Like, it'll be fine.
Just be Pepe sending nudes.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I think, like we've said, there were definitely some bits that I didn't think quite worked 100%, and there were a few bits that were missing, but on the whole, I thought it was really, really well done. I really loved seeing the Muppets in the Haunted Mansion. I loved how they'd brought the Haunted Mansion to life. I thought the guest stars were all fantastic, especially the ones that had slightly meatier roles to play. They really did nail it. And yeah, it was just great seeing Gonzo in particular get a leading role. And yeah, just more Muppets, please. Like
more Muppets, please.
So is that long enough for you to have come up with your ratings?
Yeah, why not? Emma, you go first though.
Okay, so I'm gonna give it 8 peeled prawns out of 10. It was really enjoyable and really lovely to see. I enjoyed having Gonzo as the lead, having all these sort of old classic Muppets come back. Nice to see Wayne and Wanda. Nice to see, the newsman portrait. And I loved the little touches of the sort of Haunted Mansion and the Muppets. And seeing Kim. It was just a fun romp. It was a lovely bit of TV. It was just really nice to see them interacting and nice songs, and it was just a fun thing to watch.
Get that on the poster. A fun thing to watch. Emma Chandler, Muppetsational. Sorry.
No, that's cool.
Emma doesn't care. She's been quoted on the poster.
I'm on the poster. It's fine.
Fine.
Yeah, so I'm going to give it 8 peeled prawns out of 10. How about you, Lou?
I'm also going to give it 8. I'm going to give it 8 regurgitated spider's legs out of 10. Just like, oh my god.
He's like, there's a leg.
It was so good. Yeah. Super fun, made with love, made with care, and I really hope that it leads to more Muppet things made with thought and love and a budget, but just with less LED screens, please. And here's something that will really tell you how much I enjoyed it. Of the 2 things I watched on October 8th that were released for Lewis Chandler's, I would rank Muppets Haunted Mansion higher than the concert film of Madonna, Madam X. Too many cuts, Madonna. Too many cuts. Not every song that you performed there, you didn't use a vocoder for all of them. I was there. I heard it. Anyway, it's fine. It's fine. And on that note, which has been shifted back into key in post-edit, thank you so much for joining us for a little one-off little pop in and say hello and chatting about Muppets Haunted Mansion. If you'd enjoyed this show, if you've enjoyed this episode, I assume you've already been following us already. But if you don't, you can find us. We're at Muppetsational on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I'm doing this off the top of my head. I haven't opened the Word document.
Oh my goodness.
You can email us at hiho at
Muppets Podcast.
Muppetspodcast.com. And you can find out more about us and the podcast at
Muppetspodcast.com.
Muppetspodcast.com.
I'm really out of practice. I don't know my lines.
And as always, please do subscribe, rate, review us.
Yeah, of course. All that stuff. Look, we're going to be gone for another month or 2 anyway. So look, we're just popping up on your feed now to say hi, how are you? And we'll see you, I don't know, Christmas? Who knows? No, probably sooner than that. Or not. Who knows? We don't know. We haven't decided yet, but we will come back. Until then, until we hurry back. Hurry back. I have been Boois Chandler.
I don't know how to make my name scary.
Jade Turner the Screw.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go just like Jade Turner.
No, that's not. What is that? That's
know.
nothing. That's ridiculous. That's first draft Haunted Mansion work.
That was what they did to the ballroom yet again.
And I'm Emma Chandler.
Great. We shall see you all again soon when we begin season 2 of Muppetsational.
Woo!
Date TBC.
Our theme music is Pepe Pepe by Kevin MacLeod, and our artwork is designed by Charlotte Rudge, who you can follow at Charlie_R_Rudge on Instagram.
That was a funny show.
Yes, it was. I wonder if they meant it that way.